You're listening to AM Ocala Live, WOCA, The Source, 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, broadcasting to you live from the Paddock Mall this morning, this Wednesday morning, March 18th. Happy Wednesday, everybody, as it is Hump Day. Making our way halfway through the work week for those that are, I guess, working, considering everything now after yesterday. Hey, good morning, Carlos. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, good morning, Adam. Doing pretty well, and you?
Not too bad. So with everything that went on last night or yesterday afternoon with Ron DeSantis, with the expectations to follow suit, like some of the other states, including Ohio, Illinois, California, New York, to the idea that we're shutting her down. We're shutting everything down. All the clubs, bars, restaurants, to the expectation with delivery or carry out. I think expectations only. Basically, trying to follow suit to continue to do what we can to stop the spread of COVID-19. So that was some big things yesterday, as they wanted everything to kind of shut down around 5 o'clock yesterday, I think was the expectation. But now, today, with the same thing, the expectations have pretty much just keeping people at home, I guess. I guess that's the idea. We're here at the station as we're broadcasting live from the Paddock Mall. And, with those expectations, it's all there to do the responsible thing to keep the idea of preventing, the spread of COVID-19. So now... the expectation is to have all the restaurants and everything else pretty much closed, as we've seen some other countries do, as we've now seen states do, and now Governor DeSantis to follow suit. So yeah, that's the big change from yesterday as into today, which I was kind of seeing anyway. It's not a surprise to me. I was going to kind of see that. I'm actually surprised it didn't happen sooner. But nonetheless,
things closing. I mean, it's
I kind of saw it coming at some point anyway. But nonetheless, we're part of it too. Yeah, as we're getting you started with your Wednesday. Thank you for listening. AM Ocala Live. Weather out there a little bit cool. Yeah, it's 61 degrees as the sun's getting ready to start to come up, as we start to see a little bit more lighter in the sky. And another beautiful day, my friend, and the temperatures continue to want to go up. We're expecting to see a high of almost 90 today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, as we're looking at the upper 80s into the 90s for the next few days, which is gorgeous. And with that should be some calm. Light southeast winds that will continue to blow for about 5 to 7 miles per hour, they say, which gives us a little bit more of a like a little summertime feel, but it's still spring, and it's it's dropping off with the temperatures at night. Like I said, it's 61, and then creeping on up for a high today of near 90. Of course, though, that high doesn't feel like it really gets here until 3:30. Or close to 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, it takes a little bit later in the day.
Yeah, especially too since we had changed the times, which I'm still getting used to. By the way, the whole daylight savings time. I'm still trying to get used to it, nonetheless.
Same here. It's just something that you're just gonna have to.
I think they said weeks. Some people it takes weeks. I think, like I said, I called that before. Like I'm gonna be one of those people that it takes weeks.
Weeks. Sounds about right.
So with all the, like I said, expectations of things to close down, to keep more people basically away from work, away from schools, away from restaurants, away from bars, away from clubs, away from social gatherings, to continue social distancing, all in the expectations to continue to minimize the spread of the COVID-19, which now, as it continues, I think we're now up to a death toll of 114 people in the country, along with us as Florida, Kansas, and Nevada take some bold action here. It says as the death toll reaches 114, the economic impact of the coronavirus pandemic is becoming more clear and darker. America's sense of normal continues to adapt and change. In Washington, D.C., President Donald Trump promised to help the potentially millions of workers who are being laid off and furloughed as a result of the shuttered businesses. One possible dangle is and I heard this as we were listening to First Light, as we're getting ready for our show, is that a $1,000 check sent directly to almost every adult American is possible. I wonder how they came up with that, and I wonder what the expectations were of, to say, $1,000. But I guess that's an idea. That's a start. A $1,000 check sent directly to almost every adult American. While Congress works out a stimulus plan to save the economy, Trump again encouraged Americans to stay home, physically distance themselves from other people in an effort to what we consider to be flattening the curve, if you will, of the expectation of the season, of the spread of the virus in lieu of the season, to spread that out, to handle that curve, to flatten that out for the actual expectations of more and more people diagnosed and coming down with it, and then everything else. So they said we have to fight the invisible enemy, quote, I guess the unknown, but we are getting to know it quickly, Trump said. One day we'll be standing up here and be saying, well, we won, it's over. Elsewhere, Kansas became the first state to announce that schools would remain closed for in-person teaching for the rest of the school year, with no expectations of after spring break, like I know Florida schools is thinking of, or at least till the end of the month, or something in April, or now I'm not sure where the conversation has gone to. But as Kansas became the first state to announce that schools would remain closed for the rest of the school year, Target will change its hours, the store Target, closing early and dedicating an hour to vulnerable shoppers. And Nevada's governor ordered the statewide shutdown of all casinos. Now, that's a huge, huge impact. As we know, Las Vegas with all of the casinos.
Las Vegas?
Yeah, and
Las
closing
Vegas has a lot of casinos.
And closing them all with the expectation shutting them all down to keep people out of them in lieu of not spreading the virus, in lieu of keeping everybody away from those big opportunities for public gathering. And that is a huge one there, as it's an expectation to, and they have ordered to shut down all casinos, and that's Nevada, so that goes for Reno, that goes for Wendover, it goes for them all. And that also continues for any non-essential business starting today, Wednesday. So I guess Pawn Stars will have to take a little break too. It says also Tuesday, the up and down Dow, which dropped nearly 3,000 points Monday. It rose significantly, most of the uptick coming from Trump speaking from the White House, as there were 114 reported deaths and more than 6,490 confirmed cases in the United States as early as Wednesday. And that's according to the Johns Hopkins University data dashboard. Worldwide, the virus has now killed nearly 8,000 people. So it's kind of where we're at. That's where we're at. Now, Kansas becoming the first to cancel in-person school or teaching for school is basically to the point where the decision is the first of its kind by any state in the nation. And that's what makes it, so to speak, unprecedented. More than a dozen states have canceled traditional classes for 2 or 3 weeks, but none so far has stopped in-person teaching for the rest of the academic school year. A task force of 40 educators were preparing to deliver guidelines for Kansas school districts by Wednesday night. Challenges include child care, delivery of meals, and alternative instruction for urban and rural school kids who lack devices or quality internet access. Okay, so unprecedented. So Kansas, I wonder if that'll continue to follow suit with other states. I guess we shall see. You can almost think it's a little bit of a domino effect. Kind of like I said, I wasn't surprised when Florida was considering to close most bars, restaurants, nightclubs, and all that stuff. I guess if one state is now, and it's unprecedented to cancel just the rest of the school year, I actually see that kind of starting to take place with other states. We'll see how the rest of the day goes with that expectation. And like I said, when we were here for the start of the show Monday, which now we're on Wednesday, so 2 days have passed, 2 full days. Like I said, I think it was going to be interesting to see where we were going from the start of Monday in our morning show to where we'll be on Friday. And I think these are the expectations. I wouldn't be surprised if by Friday we know that not only all bars, restaurants, stores, and everything else closed. I mean, that they would even cancel school for the rest of the school year.
Because,
I can see that coming.
If all the schools are to be closed for the remainder of the school year, that definitely wouldn't surprise me. Because did you know that yesterday my girl informed me that Planet Fitness has decided to go ahead and shut itself down for the time being until further notice. And I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing happens to all gyms. Like, I go to your health spa, and I wouldn't be surprised if a gym closes soon. So
yeah, those two.
For the time being, I'm just gonna be doing my workouts like at home, watching a YouTube video, and just working out from home. I mean, it's not the same as having all the machines and dumbbells and stuff, but I mean, it's better.
YouTube,
body weight exercises are better than skipping the gym altogether.
Now,
remember that.
Now, when you're watching YouTube, what are you watching? You watching like 1980s aerobics, spandex, and platform high sneakers and tube socks?
No. I watch
Let's get physical.
Some of the more
physical. I want to get
modern YouTube
physical.
channels. Yeah,
physical.
Physical. Like there's a couple of channels that I like to watch. There's Scott Herman Fitness and Fitness Blender, and they
get real serious with it.
They have like all kinds of workout videos that show good body weight exercises you can do, where you don't need dumbbells or whatever that you can find at the gym. And one exercise that I can definitely do without having to worry about being at the gym is walking on my hands. That's something I've been really good at my whole life, because I've been doing it my whole life, and it really does make me feel like I'm really testing the strength of my hands and my arms and all that. Just
walking on your hands. Oh man, now I'm definitely just gonna bump elbows or just pound fists or something, because I can't shake your hand. You're walking around. There's just COVID-19 going on. And you're walking on your hands. You better be watching those puppies.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have to start shaking your feet.
I promise you, I definitely watch them. But yeah, I'm just really good at it, because I've been doing it my whole life, and it really is a lot of fun, and makes me feel like I'm getting stronger every time I do it.
Yeah, I could do it. I could do it. I have to be in a pool of water. And do handstand and then walk on my hands.
Oh, okay.
I can't do it in
I can
regular
do it
life.
either way. Oh, no.
Getting back to it, with Nevada, with the expectations like we were talking about with the casinos, Nevada orders all casinos and other non-essential businesses to be closed. And it says here in Nevada, Governor Steve Sisolak ordered that the statewide shutdown of all casinos or other non-essential business was to start today at noon. And the state's latest coronavirus containment effort will apply to bars, we just said here, gyms, beauty salons, barbershops, malls, restaurants that do not provide takeout or delivery services. And Sisolak said that in a Tuesday press conference that the casinos and hotels will be given time to remove their guests before closing for 30 days. And the expectation is to be closed for 30 days. Retail malls and stores will also be mothballed for a month. Gaming machines are to be emptied and shut down by midnight. Some of Nevada's largest casino companies, among the MGM Resorts, the Wynn Resorts, the Las Vegas Sands, voluntarily shut down their properties early this week. I always think those are crows out there. It's the birds. There's a bunch of birds now coming to the window.
I think I saw a crow or two as well.
But I think there's a little something different, because they don't sound like crows. They sound a little different. Some of Nevada's largest casino companies, like we were mentioning, that as it says here earlier in the week, but Tuesday's order effectively closed the remaining casino-related businesses and others that had not voluntarily closed. And it says here, quote, "My ultimate goal here is to come together as Nevadians to save lives," he told reporters in Las Vegas. The requires aggressive strategies aimed at limiting community spread. So that's a big impact too. let's go back for a little bit. For those who are listening this morning, good morning. Happy Wednesday, 61 degrees, broadcasting to you live from the Paddock Mall. We're also streaming live, YouTube Live, WOCA, The Source Radio. If you'd like to give us a call, 622-9622. We got a good show for you lined up. And as we do, we're talking a little bit about the expectations of that we've been hearing rumor with the potential of Congress working on a stimulus plan to save the economy, along with the ideas for economic stimulus with people out of work, what the government's looking to do, which says here, according to USA Today, a $1,000 check of a possibility to be sent directly to almost every adult American. $1,000. And is that a good idea? Is that where did they come up with that number, so to speak? For listeners out there, do you think that's a good idea? Do you think that's enough? Do you think that's too much? Do you think...
Definitely not too much.
Not too much. Nonetheless, I mean, at some point, it's got to come from somewhere. So I think, yeah, that sounds nice and everything, but where does that come from? It's just not coming out of thin air, So is the juice worth the squeeze, and where that's going to come from, and is that worth what we're going through to shut everything down? With the expectations of 30 days of shutting things down, is that going to suffice for a lot of people who will be out of work? We'll see. And is that tax-free, or is that $1,000, here you go, by the way, we want that back come next year when it comes to tax time? I don't know. Those are kind of questions and concerns, nonetheless, that I'm sure a lot of people would have. If that's the case for some, hey, you know what, just hang on to it. I don't need it, or something like it. But I think if we knew that, I'm trying to think, what was it, back when George Bush, when we had a surplus, I think they sent out a check, what was that, 2003, 2004, maybe? And I remember that a little bit, and it was based on whether or not you had kids or not, is where they had an expectation of how much more people would get as if you had kids, in lieu of the stimulus. To stimulate the economy, that's what they did. They gave some of that back to us. And with that, you got a check from the government. I think I got one for like $400. And back then I was 20 something. Hell, I was your age, and I think by then it was like $400. Yeah, that just showed how much of a crapshoot I'm in. All right, that was just a reminder that, I think there's a good comedian who talked about it back in the day. He said, I think that was that Black? Yeah, he said basically we all have to spend it at the same time for it to actually stimulate.
$400 seems like it definitely help out in certain situations.
A little bit. Like he said, it's like we didn't have $20 for the house payment or $13 for the car payment. It was a little different. But now, when we come back, we're coming to the bottom of the hour. When we come back, you're listening to AM Ocala Live. We're going to talk a little bit more. Phone lines will be open. Questions, comments, talking about the $1,000 check that could be directly deposited. Give us a call. Let us know. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source. We're back after this.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Chris Foster. Joe Biden sweeps the 3 states holding primaries yesterday, Arizona, Florida, and Illinois, extending his lead over Bernie Sanders in the Democratic Party primary race. Biden says he and Senator Sanders may disagree on tactics, but share a common vision.
For the need to provide affordable health care for all Americans, reduce income inequity that has risen so drastically, to tackling the existential threat of our time, climate change.
Ohio's primary postponed because of the coronavirus outbreak. There are now more than 6,400 reported cases in the U.S., 114 deaths. And Kansas is the first state to cancel in-person classes for the rest of the school year, kindergarten through high school. Governor Laura Kelly says,
unprecedented circumstances threaten the safety of our students and the professionals who work with them every day, and we must respond accordingly.
America's listening to Fox News.
When Allstate agents and employees go to work every day, their number one priority is protecting what matters most to you. For military veterans, that instinct to protect also comes naturally. No wonder thousands of veterans build good careers with Allstate. And now, Allstate is ranked the number one employer on the 2020 Military Friendly Employers list. You're in good hands with Allstate.
For career opportunities or to get a quote, contact Allstate today. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
According to the 2010 census, only 13% of the population was over 65. Well, I wasn't part of the 13% back then, but I am now. And with the 2020 census, my response will inform funding for things like healthcare, public transit, all types of things to make 65 feel like the new 40. Yeah, okay, maybe the new 50.
Shape your future. Start here. Complete the census at 2020census.gov. Paid for by U.S. Census Bureau.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Bob Wine says, don't hunker down, come on down to Ocala's gorgeous 5-acre outdoor fresh air camellia garden. Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens on Southeast 38th Street. In this paradise, you'll experience one of Florida's outstanding free attractions, hundreds of trees, thousands of multicolored blooms, including many rare and exotic specimens you've never experienced. While you're there, take a look at some terrific ideas for greening up your home and your yard this spring. Here's an example, a gorgeous selection of everybody's favorite geraniums. They're regularly $2.99, but you get 10 for $19.99. Logos? Yes, buy one, get one on blueberries, on plumbago, on hydrangea, and even on arborvitae. Come on down and check out the deals. This is where you want to be for spring. Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens. Open daily till 4:30 on Southeast 38th Street, Ocala, in the same blooming place since 1952.
This is Jan from Palm Garden, and March 30th is Doctor's Day. We are so grateful for the tireless dedication and professionalism of all the doctors we work with. I'd like to single out our medical directors, Alfonso Martinez and Sid Clevenger, and our attending physicians, Doctors Kidambi, Panchel, and Siva, for their ongoing service to our precious residents. Join me in wishing all the fine doctors of Ocala and Marion County a happy Doctor's Day on March 30th, and thank you from Palm Garden.
Veterans Helping Veterans USA. Call 352-433-2320. We help veterans and their families with limited financial assistance, counseling, employment referrals, and a food and clothing bank. You can help in making a huge difference in the veterans' lives we serve by donating food, clothing, household items, or direct financial assistance. All donations are tax deductible. Veterans Helping Veterans USA. 352-433-2320. Thank you for your attention, and God bless America.
Tuesday night, we'll have partly cloudy skies, the low 63 to 65. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, mostly sunny and warm. The high Wednesday and Thursday, 85 to 89. Friday's high, 87 to 90. Saturday and Sunday will be warm with a few peaks of sunshine. The high Saturday, 85 to 89. Sunday's high, 83 to 88. Turning cloudy and warm Monday with a high 84 to 86. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm
WOCA. Tick-tock. The days fly by, and we find tax season is upon us once again. Not to worry, though. With a reputable CPA firm on your side, you can rest assured that all of your needs will be handled in a professional and thorough manner. Robson, Scribner, and Stewart is just that firm. They're there for their clients year-round, not just during tax season, to handle your needs and answer any questions you may encounter. At Robson, Scribner, and Stewart, there is no client too small or too large. Their expertise ranges from the single individual to the largest of corporations. Get your return prepared by a professional who will use their years of experience to ensure that your tax return's outcome will leave you in the best possible position. Call them today at 694-4184. Robson, Scribner, and Stewart. They're there for you today. Again, that number is 694-4184. Time is of the essence, so don't delay. 694-4184.
Here are the categories.
I'll take Mike Scott Plumbing for 1,000, please, Alex.
Answer. Daily double.
I'll wager 5,000.
All right. Here is the clue. PU is the type of this complication
What is a sewage backup?
Yes, that's right.
It's all fun and games until something happens to you, like a septic system failure or a clogged drain or line, leaving you saying PU. But not to worry. Mike Scott Plumbing is there to get you out of that jeopardy and back on track. And they don't charge extra for nights, weekends, or holidays. From septic pumping to lawn irrigation to high-efficiency water heaters. At Mike Scott Plumbing, if water runs through it, we do it. Stop by one of the newly renovated showrooms in Hernando or Wildwood, or call today, 237-2888. That's 237-2888.
Mike Scott.
Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440. In addition to our pasture mowing and tractor services, including zero-turn mowers for your fence line finish, we also offer rototilling and fence row spraying. We are family-owned and operated, licensed and insured, and farm-ready. Powell Gene, Gene, at yahoo.com. 352-629-2440. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440. Gene is a proud United States veteran.
Hello, I'm Mark Sears with Regency Printing. With over 10 years in the printing business, I know you'll find Regency Printing the place for all your local printing needs. Plus, I have back services, mailbox rentals, notary service, U.S. mail, pack and ship, all at one convenient location, 2375 Northeast 25th Avenue. Just look for the yellow signs. Regency Printing, 789-6683. That's 789-6683. Regency Printing.
Listening to AM Ocala Live. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source. And as it is Wednesday, now the sun's come up. I was just saying a little bit off air. It's always weird, just a little bit with the morning and it being so dark as we get started. And then just like that, the sun comes up and you get a regular morning so far. It's not bad. As we're now at 62 degrees. And we're streaming live from the Paddock Mall. And as we say that, in lieu of everything with what the topic has been so far with Ron DeSantis coming on yesterday and talking everything about the cancellations of what it is now for the closing. I say cancellations, but the closings of bars, restaurants, and clubs and other non-essential business type places. In lieu of that, as we are broadcasting to you live from the Paddock Mall, it says the Paddock Mall from management, the safety of our guests, retailers, and employees is our top priority. As the Paddock Mall, we continue to carefully follow the official guidance from state and local health officials. And with that, the Paddock Mall will be temporarily adjusting their operating hours and now will open daily at 11 a.m., Sundays at 12 p.m., and close daily at 7 p.m., and then Sundays at 6 p.m., until further notice. So as of right now, the expectation is to begin that today, where they'll be temporarily adjusting those hours here at the Paddock Mall, opening at 11 and then closing at 7. And then on Sunday, it'll be 12 to 6. Until further notice, certain retailers have chosen to modify operating hours and close temporarily. And we are giving all the tenants the opportunity to do what is right for their business at this time. As the Paddock Mall, we support our community as an employment center and a point of purchase for necessary goods and services. Our modified hours are intended to strike a balance between allowing our communities to receive the goods, services, and employment needed, while also enabling our team to implement disinfectant and cleaning practices each evening. In addition to the already rigorous cleaning expectations happening throughout the day already. And in addition, Washington Prime is, it says Washington Prime Group, our parent company, is offering up our center to those local, state, and federal agencies tasked with the containment and ultimately the eradication of this coronavirus, as well as those impacted by this national crisis. For instance, our center could be used as a distribution center with respect to medical supplies and other items that the community might need. If we should have to further modify our operating hours, or if they are mandated to temporarily close, they will post the updates on their social media pages and website. And they say thank you for the support during this challenging time. And that's coming from the Paddock Mall, as we are broadcasting to you live from the Paddock Mall with now the adjusted hours for the mall here in our community to go from, as they're saying, opening now 11 a.m. to then close at 7 p.m. So there you go. As they're continuing to be open, but then adjust those hours, which I wouldn't be surprised again if we say by the end of the week they might be just closed altogether. But as of right now, adjusted hours for them. And they're our friends right here as we are broadcasting to you live from the Paddock Mall.
Yeah, the way I see it, sometimes they might, like businesses will probably, they'll want to adjust their hours first and they'll see how things go before deciding to just temporarily shut down altogether.
Well, maybe, and that's the idea, like they said, is that they adjust those hours. They can do something different when it comes to being more tidy to clean everything up and less of a time of a day for people to be out there nonetheless. But yeah, we shall see. We shall see. Now, as we're continuing to talk about all this, of course, we got a good show lined up for you today. At the top of the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to have Life South Community Blood Centers with our blood bank report, talking with Galen. There's actually some sports to talk about, baby. There's some big news in sports as word's getting out there as of yesterday, because it was the 17th that everything was coming up with the expectations of Tom Brady. And he sincerely said that he will no longer be a New England Patriot. And with that, there's an expectation that he could be coming to the Sunshine State with the expectations of Tampa Bay. And that's something I can't wait to talk to Galen about, see if he saw that one coming. Bruce Arians and Tom Brady, that's not a bad relationship there with some expectations. As we talk with Galen, that'll be from 8 o'clock to 8:30. We'll find out a little bit more about our blood supply, where we can get out there and give the gift of life and donate blood. Of course, this segment always with our proud sponsors of Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center and, of course, Penn Flooring. At the bottom of that 8 o'clock hour, we'll be doing a little bit of news bits. We'll be touching on some articles that have come up just to read what's kind of going on within the community a little bit outside of necessarily virus stuff, just some happenings, if you will, just to touch on that for about a half hour, because at 9 o'clock we're going to have Robert Colin in with On Top of the World to discuss some things about what you can do for yourself for home maintenance and to maintain your home. We'll have him in here at 9 o'clock. We'll run that to the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour and then go from there. So we got a good show for you lined up as we're now coming up on 15 minutes before the top of the 8 o'clock hour. Beautiful weather today. We were talking a little bit about that also, because why not? We've got sunshine galore. We're looking at getting ourselves with temperatures up into the upper 80s, close to 90 today, as they're looking for a high of 89, and that's going to continue for the next few days. Now, as I was looking at aviation weather, as I was looking at some of the prognostic charts, the expectations for the weekend still look gorgeous, but there is a chance, maybe a chance, for some well-needed rain, with a chance of that could come maybe Sunday. With the movement of what looks like a little bit of a front to maybe come through, as we were talking just a little bit about that yesterday when we had Carol Ann, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin, in to talk, like we do on Tuesdays, and we always talk about the weather a little bit. So there's an expectation to maybe get some well-needed rain, maybe by Sunday evening.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't look like it's going to rain today. That's for sure.
No,
It's
and
nice and clear.
Yeah, no, it's not to for the next few days, but we will have warm weather, that's for sure. So get out there and enjoy it. Now, one of the big topics in lieu of the expectations of the United States with having some of the economic crisis kind of going on, and I say it's a crisis because with the pandemic, that's what's included in the same sentence, as you will, as we, even with our friends there at the beginning of the show with First Light, talking about that we may already be in that recession, so to speak. However, they're working to do what they can to get themselves to get some structure, get some order to tackle this a little bit. And one of that is the idea of stimulus, with the expectations that in Washington, D.C., President Donald Trump promised to help the potentially millions of workers who are being laid off and furloughed as a result of the shuttered businesses. And it says, and I like how they say this here, this is USA Today, that one possibility dangled is a $1,000 check sent directly to almost every adult American. I was thinking of your thoughts out there to listeners, 622-9622, what you think of that, if that's the right amount, if it's not enough, if it's ever going to come to fruition, how long you think it'll take to even get it, and what you think they may have come up with to come up with that amount. Give us a call. We'd like to hear your opinion, 622-9622. And I think it's interesting. As we were also talking about in lieu of that, the idea of schools within a unprecedented move by the state of Kansas to cancel in-person classes for the entire school year. So now it's done. Kansas schools are done, if you will, but in lieu of the colleges, universities, campuses to do online courses, and then what they can do with the other types of public schools and stuff. Now, we were talking also about how Nevada, and I was wondering this the other day. I was actually questioning the idea of like, well, with this all going on, a lot of people start to think, well, what's there to do? And with cheap flights, a lot of people talking about, well, and this is at my other job there, about the idea of like, oh, well, cheap flights, no one's flying right now. Man, we can snag a quick, cheap ticket to somewhere interesting. And Vegas was brought up, and I thought about that, but I was like, well, what about the casinos? That's a big social gathering of people in an area, big area, but social distancing yourself at the blackjack table is a little hard to do, especially if the table's hot. But with the idea of Nevada, like we were saying this morning, is all casinos, Nevada orders all casinos and other non-essential businesses to close. And that's a big impact because we know that's a big impact for the state's economy within Nevada. So that's a huge thing for them. And with that is the idea of closing it for 30 days, almost an entire month. It's amazing where we're going to see ourselves a month from now. You always got to ask yourself, are you better now than where you were a month ago? And I can tell you, I can't wait to see where we're at in a month. And with that all, the ultimate goal here is to come together as Nevadians to save lives, he told reporters in Las Vegas. That requires aggressive strategies aimed at limiting the community spread, as that was Governor Steve Sisolak, who ordered the statewide shutdown of all casinos and other non-essential businesses that would start at noon today. So if you're at the roulette table, get your bets in. All bets in. All bets off. Put it all in black. Put it all in black. Some other stuff too that's come up a little bit. That's outside of, like we're saying, just trying to keep some interesting things outside of the virus too, as much as we would keep you informed with that. This one's local to us. Is that SpaceX has a launch today to attempt for Wednesday morning. It says on Sunday, the countdown clock got all the way down to 0 before the launch attempt at the Kennedy Space Center was stopped, and they aborted the takeoff, or correction, launch. And SpaceX attributed the stoppage to a technical issue. And now they're looking at today for the 6th batch of Starlink satellites will be added to the constellation currently in orbit, comprising of almost 400 gadgets to date, and will eventually number in the tens of thousands. And the constellation will provide internet service to underserved areas worldwide. The Falcon 9 first stage booster has flown 4 times previously. SpaceX is all about reusing certain rocket parts to make launches more affordable, and this particular stage has been busy since 2008. And this is interesting. I've had Martin Suter in on Fridays, and we've tried to talk a little technology and stuff when it comes up. And one of the big things we were mentioning before, and the listeners know of, are the Starlink satellites, and talking a little bit about them, because that's, like it said, for underserved areas worldwide. It's an opportunity with these Starlink satellites to bring that internet access to all parts of the world, if you will. And with that, it says here just some more information about those satellites in general. Each Starlink satellite weighs about 260 kilos with a flat panel design to minimize volume. That the way the company can stack more satellites in one launch. The lifespan of the satellites, they say, is about 5 years. And once it reaches the end of its life cycle, the satellites will deorbit and eventually burn up in the Earth's atmosphere. These satellites are the first of their kind, and they are equipped with ion thrusters powered by krypton, which allows the satellites to maneuver in space. Krypton. That's interesting. Powered by krypton.
Definitely gonna have internet.
I know. I was gonna say, and I know you're a comic book movie geek yourself there. So when I see powered by ion thrusters, powered by krypton. I can't believe I'm reading an article that's on Spectrum News. I thought I was reading something out of a Stan Lee novel or a DC comic.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
As Wednesday's launch, it's attempted today, they're looking at 8:16 a.m. So here just in a few minutes, they will be giving that another shot. They will carry the launch live as it happens on Spectrum News. They say here the 6 batch of satellites will be added to the constellation currently in orbit, comprising almost 400 gadgets to date. And I think it's interesting that eventually the number will total in the tens of thousands, which is just incredible.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And, and they say after liftoff at around 8 minutes, the first stage is expected to land on the drone ship. And then almost 15 minutes, all 60 satellites are expected to begin deployment. And then boom, just like that, they'll be ready to go to be used as such, which is kind of interesting. And it's interesting nonetheless. Like, I think that stuff's pretty cool. I love the fact that kind of thing is in our backyard with these rocket launches and the privateering of space and science and everything else. I think it's awesome. Try to report on it when we can a little bit. I still haven't seen one live, though. I know a lot of people try to check it out live. I haven't seen a rocket launch live yet myself, but I heard it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat, even if you're in close proximity. I'm sure at some point, with how beautiful it is this morning, with the clear skies, after that lifts off, you could probably catch a glimpse of it as it works its way up into the atmosphere and then into lower orbit.
That would be cool. And speaking of rockets, you know what that reminds me of?
No, not sure.
Well, you're about to find out.
Okay.
So, have you ever been in a situation where you're trying to work on something or figure something out, and the others around you they deem it as something simple, and then if you're making it more complicated than it has to be, they come up with this. They say this phrase. Come on, it's not rocket science. Have you ever heard of it?
I have.
I've been told that so many times because that's what I do. Sometimes I'll take something very simple, I'll make it really, really complex, and I don't know why, but I've always been like that. I'm still like that to this day.
Nonetheless, yep. It's either it's not rocket science or it's not brain surgery.
I've never heard of the brain surgery.
No, brain surgery is a little bit more complicated than rocket science.
Yeah. I wouldn't even want to try brain surgery because you have to be extremely precise because it's super, super important. It's just way too much responsibility being thrown on my plate to be able to handle. That's why brain surgery would not be for me. I don't know.
As we talk more about of everything that's going on. It says here, this one's out of Washington, D.C. by the Associated Press, to the idea that no one knows how long it will last or how much it will hurt, but the U.S. economy is either sliding into a recession for the first time since 2009, or it's already in one, a sudden victim of the coronavirus outbreak. The vast changes deemed necessary to defeat the virus, people and companies no longer engaging with each other and bringing everyday business to a so-called halt, and likely delivering a death blow to the longest economic expansion on record. Now, yesterday, that was something interesting that I noticed around lunchtime was I think there's truth to that. President Donald Trump mentioned that, even though we may be falling into a small recession, or as they put it, something small as a recession, but it is something that is big and unique, that it's poised to come back. Like I think the way he mentioned it, that it's ready. It's ready to just come back as soon as we know, like he says, we've won, or we've so-called overcame this coronavirus, and maybe either found the cure or the vaccine, or just have come over that curve of the spread of the virus nonetheless and minimized to save a lot of lives. Once we're past that, we should see the economy just jump and almost like a rocket just take off. The vast changes deemed necessary to defeat the virus, people and companies no longer engaging with each other and bringing everyday business to a halt, is delivering a blow. But the interplay between outbreak and the steps meant to vanquish it reveals a cruel paradox. The faster and more painfully that ordinary economic life shuts down, the faster the health crisis can be solved. And the faster people and businesses may gain the confidence to return to normal life. Conversely, a prolonged period of fighting the virus would delay an economy or an economic rebound and imperil small business. Much, too, will depend on how swiftly and aggressively the Federal Reserve, Congress, and the Trump administration deliver financial aids to tens of millions of economic victims, from hourly workers with no more income to suddenly furloughed employees, to businesses with loans to pay but no customers. Solving the health crisis by shutting down the economy, though, will have to come first. It says here, quote, "The more rapidly that you want to contain the virus, then the more severe the lockdown has to be, and the more severe the disruption to the economy activity that it is." This was from Gregory Dacko, the chief U.S. economist at Oxford Economics. And the hope is more severe that the lockdown, the sharper the rebound will be. And it's called a lockdown paradox, they're calling it, as in the near term, at least, Dacko foresees excruciating economic pain. He expects the American economy to shrink to a staggering 12% annual rate in April and June quarter. That will be the most dismal quarter on record, dating back to 1947. After a second-half rebound, Dacko thinks that the economy will post zero growth for 2020 as an outright hole for the fiscal year. Experts do say that the economy has sunk with stunning speed, and the United States is hardly alone. By all estimations, Europe is enduring its own recession, accelerated by the virus, and the epicenter being in Italy. And in the United States, waves of layoffs seem inevitable, especially at the industries most vulnerable to the economic standstill, such as travel, entertainment, hotels, restaurants, retail stores, and the heart of the service sector, which makes up for most of the U.S. economy. Unemployment is sure to rise, perhaps sharply, in the months ahead. So we come to the top of the hour. Just not to leave it all doom and gloom. We got a lot to talk about. And when we come back, we'll have Galen and Life South Community Blood Centers. You're listening to WOCA Ocala.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Chris Foster. Joe Biden moves closer to the Democratic Party presidential nomination with wins in 3 more states: Arizona, Florida, Illinois. He says to Bernie Sanders supporters,
"Our goal as a campaign, and my goal as a candidate for president, is to unify this party and then to unify the nation."
Ohio's primary postponed because of the coronavirus outbreak. It has the Trump administration looking to get money to affected business owners and working Americans.
Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin announcing a $1.2 trillion stimulus plan, including $300 billion for small business loans, allowing people who owe taxes 90 more days to pay, and providing $250 billion in cash payments. Those payments in the form of checks of at least $1,000 with a likely income test to determine who needs the most.
Fox's Todd Pyro. America's listening to Fox News.
When Allstate agents and employees go to work every day, their number one priority is protecting what matters most to you. For military veterans, that instinct to protect also comes naturally. No wonder thousands of veterans build good careers with Allstate. And now, Allstate is ranked the number one employer on the 2020 Military Friendly Employers list. You're in good hands with Allstate.
For career opportunities or to get a quote, contact Allstate today. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
According to the 2010 census, only 13% of the population was over 65. Well, I wasn't part of the 13% back then, but I am now. And with the 2020 census, my response will inform funding for things like healthcare, public transit, all types of things to make 65 feel like the new 40. Yeah, okay, maybe the new 50.
Shape your future. Start here. Complete the census at 2020census.gov. Paid for by U.S. Census Bureau.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Bob Wine says, don't hunker down. Come on down to Ocala's gorgeous 5-acre outdoor fresh air camellia garden. Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens on Southeast 38th Street. In this paradise, you'll experience